Welcome to Living Stoic Way. Today, we're diving into a big question. What is Stoicism and how this ancient philosophy can guide us on the journey to mastering our emotions? Are you ready? Let's jump right in. Part 1, the beginning. True peace starts with a still mind. Have you ever felt like you're living in a never-ending storm? You wake up in the morning, and the alarm isn't just waking you up, it's reminding you that it's time to start running again. Running after deadlines, running to meet expectations, running through social media, running from people's opinions, and sometimes even running from yourself. The pressure never stops. Negative news floods in by the hour, and social media. It traps us in a constant game of comparison where everyone else always seems more successful, happier, prettier. And then we look at ourselves and wonder, what am I even doing with my life, y'all? I've had those nights too. Nights where everything around me was quiet, but inside, my mind was anything but. And I asked myself, am I really in control of my life? Or am I just a small boat, drifting through a sea of emotions, pushed around by whatever wind comes next? And if you're watching this right now, maybe you felt that too. That moment when the world gets too loud, and all you want is a little silence, a little clarity, a little space to just breathe. And that's when I discovered Stoicism. But let me be clear, Stoicism isn't some dry philosophy from dusty books. It's not about suppressing your emotions or living like a monk on a mountain. No, Stoicism is an art of living. It's the way you stand strong in the middle of chaos and still keep your inner peace. I'm not sharing this as someone who's figured it all out. I've been lost. I've let my emotions run the show. I've played the part others wanted from me, just to feel accepted. But Stoicism, it was like a compass. It didn't calm the storm, but it pointed me toward a way through it. And the very first lesson it gave me might also be the one that changes something for you. Yes, you can't control the world, but you can always control how you respond to it. And that, right there, is the silent power that most people never learn to master. Think about it. We spend our whole lives trying to control everything, our job, the outcome, other people's opinions, even our future. But we forget the only thing that truly belongs to us is right in our own mind. And when your mind is steady, no storm out there can shake you. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and a Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "Peace doesn't come from running away from the world. It comes from learning how to stay without being pulled under." Sounds hard, right? And I'm not asking you to blindly believe it. I'm simply inviting you to pause, to slow down, to really look within when emotion rises, and ask yourself, am I reacting on autopilot or am I choosing how I want to respond? In a world that moves fast, fast food, fast feelings, fast everything, sometimes the most revolutionary thing you can do is slow down. To pause, to observe, to be still. That's where the journey of Stoicism begins. Not with rules, not with pressure, but with a conscious choice. And before we move on, I want to leave you with just one question. If another emotional storm hits today, will you be swept away again, or will you choose to stand strong like a true Stoic? If you're ready to dive deeper, if you're curious how this philosophy can truly change your life from the inside out, then stay with me. Take your time. This isn't a race. This journey is not for the impatient. It's for those who want to live with awareness, with strength, and with purpose. Part 2. The Origins of Stoicism, a philosophy for the resilient. If you think Stoicism is just another trendy idea from modern self-help YouTube channels, the truth is this philosophy has been around for over 2,000 years. Stoicism was born in the 3rd century BC from a man named Zeno of Citium, a merchant who lost everything in a shipwreck and somehow found a new life in the pages of philosophy. Yeah, Stoicism wasn't born in quiet libraries, it was born out of collapse. Out of loss, out of the realization that chasing what's outside of you will never bring you peace. That when everything external is stripped away, the only thing left is your inner strength. That's where the Stoic path begins, turning inward instead of clinging outward, choosing self-mastery over control, inner peace over chaos. But Zeno was just the starting point. The spirit of Stoicism truly came to life in the stories of 3 powerful individuals, people whose lives you might begin to feel deeply connected to the moment you walk this path. Let's start with Seneca, a statesman, a political advisor, and one of the sharpest minds of ancient Rome. He lived in a world of power, corruption, and constant uncertainty, and yet he constantly reminded himself and us, we suffer not from the things that happen to us, but from our judgment about those things. Seneca was exiled. He was betrayed. Eventually, he was forced to take his own life. But until his final breath, he remained calm, collected, even dignified. To him, death wasn't the tragedy, losing his virtue. That would have been the real tragedy. Then there's Epictetus, a man I deeply admire. He was born a slave. Yes, you heard that right. One of the greatest philosophers in history started life in chains. But even as a slave, Epictetus said, "You can chain my body to something, but not me away." His message was clear. True freedom doesn't come from status or wealth. It comes from your relationship with your own mind. Epictetus didn't write any books. Everything we know about him came from the notes of his students, simple conversations filled with clarity and depth, like whispers of wisdom in the middle of a storm. And then there's one Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome. Now you might think, how can the most powerful man in the world follow a philosophy of humility, detachment, and simplicity? But Marcus, amidst wars, loss, and the weight of an entire empire on his shoulders, left behind a journal, a quiet little notebook called Meditations. Not written for fame, not for legacy, but simply to remind himself, every day, that power means nothing if you lose your character. One of his most powerful lines, "Don't waste time debating what it means to be good. Just be good." You see, these Stoics didn't live in an easy world. They experienced grief, betrayal, death. They didn't run from the pain. They stood through it like mountains in a storm. And in doing so, they became living proof that you can't always control what happens in life, but you can always choose to respond with wisdom and dignity. Today, whether you're living in the heart of New York or the streets of Saigon, whether you're a student, an entrepreneur, a single mom, or someone navigating heartbreak, this philosophy still matters. Because the world might change, but human nature doesn't. We still fear. We still get angry. we still cling to what we can't keep. But deep down, we're all still longing for peace and for a way to come back to ourselves. Stoicism doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It simply shows you gently that the path to freedom was within you all along. In the next part of this journey, I'll show you how to actually live Stoicism in the modern world, where everything around you is trying to pull you away from yourself. But before we go there, I want to leave you with one simple question. Who are you living like right now, Seneca, Epictetus, or Marcus? And which part of yourself needs training so you can grow into the calmest, strongest, most grounded version of who you really are? Part 3, The Core Principles of Stoicism, a Map for a Grounded Mind. If Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius are the lighthouses in the sea of life, then what kept their lights shining through the darkest storms? The answer lies in a few simple but powerful Stoic principles, not abstract theory, but practical tools for your mind. Tools you can use right now to live more awake, more grounded, and more free. And the very first principle is the one that completely changed my life. 1. Know what you can control and what you can't. It sounds simple, right? And some things are within our control, and some things are not. That's what Epictetus taught. The first time I read it, I just nodded. But as life went on, as I went through heartbreak, loss, disappointment, that one line, it started to feel like freedom. Let me ask you this. You can control your thoughts, but not what others think of you. You can control your actions, but not who will stay or leave. You can control your effort, but not the outcome. And yet, we often suffer, not because of what happens, but because we try to control what was never ours to begin with. We worry about what people think. We obsess over results. We get angry when others don't behave how we expected. But imagine this. What if you could step back from that illusion of control and focus only on what's truly yours? Your mind, your choices, your response, your values. That's when freedom begins. Not the kind of freedom where everything goes your way, but the kind where you stay calm even when it doesn't. And Marcus Aurelius said it best. Nay, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. 2. Live in harmony with nature and reason. This one sounds a bit abstract, but it's actually one of the most practical ideas Stoicism gives us. The Stoics believed humans are born with reason not to suppress emotions, but to not become slaves to them. Anger, sadness, fear, those aren't wrong. They're human. But the question is, are you reacting out of emotion or responding with awareness? Stoicism doesn't tell you to be numb. It teaches you to be in control. I like to think of it like this. You're a sailor in a boat. The river is life full of currents, surprises, and change. You can't control the water. That's nature. But you can control how you steer your boat. You don't fight the flow. You learn to work with it. With wisdom. In our world today, this means letting go of unrealistic expectations, listening to your limits, and flowing with life seasons instead of forcing them. I remember one time, I poured my heart into a project, gave it everything I had, and still, it failed. For weeks, I blamed myself. I couldn't sleep. Until I came across a line in Marcus's Meditations. A fruit falls when it's ripe, Everything happens in its own time. Don't try to force the harvest. Living in harmony with nature doesn't mean giving up. It means knowing when to let go, so you still have energy for what's truly worth holding on to. 3. Train your mind every day. Your mind is like a muscle, and if you don't train it, it weakens. The Stoics didn't believe that mental strength was something you're born with. They believed it's something you build by showing up again and again, day after day. Even Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote in his journal every single night, not to show off, not for likes, but to remind himself who he was, to reflect, to course correct, to train clarity, patience, and awareness. And you don't need to be a philosopher to do the same. Hey, just 5 minutes in the morning to write down what you're grateful for. Just one breath in an argument before you react. Just one question when emotion floods in. Am I being dragged by my emotions, or am I choosing how to respond? That's how you move from autopilot to awareness. That's how you stop reacting and start living. As Epictetus said, don't hope for things to get easier. Train yourself to be stronger. One simple exercise I've practiced, a core Stoic habit, is called negative visualization. It's not about being pessimistic. It's about imagining what could go wrong, not to scare yourself, but to prepare your mind. Because when you've already accepted that things might not go your way, you stop being surprised, and you start being steady. Final thoughts. These 3 principles may sound simple, but just like going to the gym, you can't build strength by reading the manual. You build it by doing the work, repeating, failing, trying again, getting back up. Stoicism isn't about running from emotions. It's about standing with them without letting them break you. You don't need an easy life. You need a strong mind, so you can live through anything. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, lost in expectations, or just searching for some kind of peace in a noisy world, Stoicism isn't just a philosophy. It might just become your quiet companion, reminding you every single day that you've got this. Part 4. Mastering Emotions. From Reacting to Responding. In the last part, we talked about knowing what we can control and what we can't. And if there's one thing that confuses most people, it's emotions. Have you ever felt like a victim of your own emotions? One careless comment ruined your entire day. One cold glance left you feeling sad for a week. One vague fear about the future kept you awake all night. Yeah, I've been there too. And if you're feeling that way, you're definitely not alone. But here's what the Stoics teach. Emotions come and go, but your actions, that's your choice. Stoics are not emotionless. Let's get one thing clear. Being Stoic doesn't mean being robotic. It doesn't mean pretending you don't care, acting cold, or cutting yourself off from life. Stoics still love, still get angry, still feel pain. But instead of letting emotions run the show, they learn to observe them, understand them, and then choose their response intentionally. They don't let anger control their words. Hey, don't let sadness become depression. They don't let fear paralyze their actions. Because they know emotions are signals, not commands. When they feel anger, they pause. Have you ever snapped at someone over something small and later regretted it? Yeah, I've done that more times than I can count. But a Stoic, they do something different. They pause. They look at their anger like an old friend showing up unexpectedly, and they ask, where is this anger coming from? Is it reasonable? Will reacting help or make it worse? If the answer is no, they stay silent. They step back. They choose a calm conversation instead of a reaction they'll regret. I still remember one moment clearly. Someone close to me said something that hurt deeply. My first instinct was to snap back. But I paused, and I remembered what Wayne Seneca once said. Anger is like fire. The more fuel you add, the bigger it grows. So I chose not to throw in more wood. And from that moment, I realized something powerful. Not reacting immediately is a kind of strength. When they feel sadness, they accept. Sadness is part of life. Sometimes the loss is real, the breakup is real, the pain is real. But Stoics don't deny it. They don't pretend to be fine. They look at it honestly. They accept it fully, but they don't let it drown them. There's a passage from Meditations that moved me deeply. When you lose someone you love, don't say, I lost them. Say, I was fortunate to live alongside them for a time. That's not ignoring grief. That's transforming it. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? A Stoic would ask, what can I learn in this moment of sadness? When they feel anxiety, they come back to the present. Worry is one of the biggest energy drains in modern life. We worry about things that haven't happened. We imagine the worst, and then we suffer through things that might never even come. Epictetus said, don't worry about what may happen. Focus on what you can do today. I remember losing sleep over a project I feared would fail, but the next morning, nothing had happened except that I had drained myself with worry. Stoics train action-oriented thinking, not worry-driven thinking. If it happens, I'll face it. If it hasn't, I won't suffer in advance. That's a quiet kind of confidence, not based on outcomes, but on inner readiness. Mastering emotions doesn't mean not feeling anything. It means feeling more deeply but acting more wisely. Think of a surfer. They don't deny the waves. They learn to stand on top of them balanced, focused, and steady. You can do the same. You don't need to become an emotional superhero overnight. But you can start today by watching, by asking questions, by choosing a better response. Angry pause, sad accept, anxious act on what you can. Every time you do that, you move closer to the Stoic within you, calm, aware, and free. Part 5, Living Stoic in the Modern World, How Stoicism Works Today. Someone once asked me, Stoicism sounds nice and deep, but can it really work in today's world with deadlines, drama, and social media chaos? I smiled and said, it's because the modern world is so chaotic that Stoicism is more necessary than ever. Stoicism isn't some ancient idea to keep locked away in books. It's a daily compass guiding your choices, your reactions, your state of mind. It's not just a belief, it's a way of living. It's not just reflection, it's action. And the best part, you can start with the smallest things in your everyday life. In work, you can't control everything, but you can always control yourself. You can't choose your boss. You can't choose your deadlines. You can't predict the market or how clients will respond. But you can choose your preparation. You can choose your attitude. You can choose how you respond when things don't go as planned. I can't control the result, but I can control the quality of the effort I give. I once worked on a big project that failed completely. It wasn't my fault, but I still felt like a failure. Then I remembered something Epictetus said. Don't tie your self-worth to things outside your control. From that moment on, I stopped measuring myself by outcomes and started valuing my discipline, my professionalism, and my integrity. And surprisingly, once I changed how I viewed it, I felt freer, and I worked better, too. In relationships, love freely but don't cling. You don't own anyone. That's a hard truth, but the more you resist it, the more pain you create. People come and go like passengers on the train of your life. Some ride with you for many stops, some get off quickly, but no one stays forever. The Stoic understands this. They don't love coldly, they love with awareness. I love you, but I don't need you to define my worth. I value this relationship, but I won't lose myself if it ends. I once loved someone deeply, and when it ended, I felt completely lost. Until one day, I wrote this in my journal. That person was a gift, and every gift has its time. The Stoic doesn't blame, doesn't resent. They learn the lesson and move forward. Even in betrayal, they don't hold hatred because they understand. Hatred is the invisible chain that keeps you tied to your pain, and only you can break it. In your inner life, peace doesn't come from others, it comes from you. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, used to remind himself every morning, "Today, I will meet people who are foolish, selfish, ungrateful, bravery, but I will not let them steal my peace." Read that again. I will not let them steal my peace. That line has saved me so many times. In an age where a single comment online can keep you up all night, when you do your best and still get criticized, when you try so hard but still get misunderstood, remember this. Others may act without reason, but you don't have to respond the same way. The Stoic guards their inner peace like a warrior guards a sacred treasure. They don't hand their mind over to someone else just because that person lost control of their own. And in those moments, you begin to see peace doesn't come from someone loving you the right way. It comes from how you love yourself, with clarity, with patience, with wisdom. Stoicism doesn't ask you to live on a mountaintop. It doesn't demand that you reject the modern world. It simply invites you to live in the middle of it all with an extraordinary mind. In your work, choose action over complaints. In love, love with freedom, not control. In spirit, hold your peace even when the world is noisy. You may not be able to control the world, but you can always control yourself. And that, my friend, is freedom. Part 6. Daily Stoic Practices, Small Habits That Change Your Life. Stoicism isn't something you hear once and forget. It's a daily habit, a mental practice, a quiet path where you take one small, deliberate step every single day. Just like going to the gym strengthens your body, Stoic practices strengthen your mind, one repetition at a time. Here are the 4 Stoic practices I personally use every day. They've changed how I think, how I live, and how I face the world. 1. Journaling. Write a Stoic journal every day. I truly believe one of the most powerful Stoic practices is writing. Not to post online, not to impress anyone, but to be radically honest with yourself. Every morning, I write just a few lines. Nothing fancy, just real. I ask myself, what could happen today? What challenges might I face? Who might test my patience? And how will I choose to respond? Writing before the day begins is like putting on mental armor. It won't stop the storm, but it prepares you not to be shaken by it. Each evening, I ask, did I live with integrity today? Did I get angry, jealous, or impulsive? What can I improve tomorrow? Not to beat myself up, but to observe myself honestly and grow a little more every day. You don't need to be a writer. You just need to be honest. You're not creating a book. You're creating a stronger version of yourself. 2. Negative visualization. Imagine the loss to treasure the present. Sounds strange, right? Why would anyone imagine something negative? But this is one of the oldest and most transformative Stoic exercises. Each morning, I take a few moments to imagine, oh, what if I lost my job today? What if the person I love is no longer here tomorrow? If today was my last day, did I live it well? This isn't about being morbid. It's about waking up your gratitude. When you remember that nothing is guaranteed, you stop taking life for granted. You speak more gently to those you love. You savor small moments. You look at the sunset a little longer. Negative visualization doesn't make you fearful, it makes you present. 3. Read one Stoic quote a day and reflect deeply. I keep a small notebook on my desk. Inside are quotes from Stoic thinkers. Every morning, I read just one, and I carry it with me for the day. For example, it's not things that disturb us, but our thoughts about them. Epictetus. When someone annoys you, remember it's their behavior, but it's your interpretation that creates suffering. Or this one, from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Some of these quotes hit you like medicine exactly when your mind needs it most. They don't just give insight. They bring you back to center, to calm, clarity, and control. Don't try to read a dozen. One quote a day, but read it with your heart. 4. Inner stillness, 5 minutes of pure silence. No phone, no podcast, no books, no multitasking. Just sit, close your eyes, and listen to yourself. The Stoics called this returning to your inner citadel, a place no one can touch, except you. Just observe your thoughts, like someone sitting on the riverbank, watching the stream go by. No judgment, no clinging, just awareness and letting go. And you'll be surprised. That simple silence can heal things you didn't even know needed healing. Stoicism doesn't ask you to escape the world. It simply asks that each day you return to yourself. Write what's on your mind. Imagine what could be lost and treasure what you have. Read one deep quote and let it shape your day. And give yourself 5 minutes to do nothing but be. You don't need to be a Stoic. Just live a little more stoically each day, and slowly, quietly, your life will transform. Part 7. Stoicism in the Age of Social Media. Staying awake in a world of illusions. We live in an era where a single swipe on your screen can make you forget who you truly are. Social media in itself isn't evil. It's just a tool. But if you don't learn how to use it consciously, it starts using you. It becomes a distorted mirror, reflecting back a version of yourself that isn't real. Comparison, the sweetest trap. You open Instagram just to scroll for a few minutes. And suddenly, someone bought a new house. Another is vacationing in Bali. Someone else just posted their perfect K-drama relationship. And you, for no clear reason, start to feel behind, unlucky, invisible, not enough. But then I remember what Epictetus said. Never let others define your value, especially when they only show you what they want you to see. Modern Stoics know social media doesn't reflect reality. It's a carefully curated highlight reel, filtered, polished, sometimes even fake. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You can live a good life without proving it to anyone." Read that again in the age of likes, shares, and comments, and you'll see how prophetic it truly is. Distracted by the trivial while ignoring the essential. How much noise do you consume daily? How many dramas pull your attention? How many random comments steal your peace? How much of your time is wasted on things that don't even matter? Time you could have used to write, to create, to love, to rest. Modern Stoics don't live like they'll live forever. They know this truth. Your attention is your most valuable asset. The more you spend it on the meaningless, the less you have for what matters. As Epictetus put it, if it doesn't serve your purpose, it's just noise. Scrolling isn't wrong, but are you scrolling with intention or drifting unconsciously? Being shaken by opinions and losing yourself. One negative comment, one stranger calling you useless, ugly, or not enough. You know, it's not true, but it still haunts you, doesn't it? I've been there too. Until I read this line in Meditations. Others have the right to say what they want, but I have the right not to be affected by it. That sentence became my invisible shield, helping me stay free in a noisy world. Modern Stoics don't chase external validation. Because they know approval comes easily and disappears just as fast. But true value is something you build silently, one step at a time, whether anyone sees it or not. Your true worth is within. You are not your likes. You are not your follower count. You are not what others think of you. You are the habits you repeat daily, and the way you face difficulty, and the attitude you hold when no one is clapping. True growth is living by your values even when no one notices. That is the essence of a modern Stoic, staying awake in a world of illusions, holding on to yourself while everyone else is busy trying to be someone. If you feel drained by social media, if you feel disconnected from yourself because of comparison, pressure, negativity, remember this. You always have this power to choose again. And choose to turn off the phone. Choose to take a deep breath. Choose to return to your inner center. Social media may scatter your mind, but Stoicism will help you return to stillness, clarity, and peace. Part 8. The Modern Stoic, Living with Higher Awareness. Not escaping the world, but rising above it. When people hear Stoic, they often picture someone cold, closed off, detached from the world, quietly enduring pain with a stone face. But the truth is completely different. A modern Stoic doesn't run from the world. They live in it, but they don't let it control them. They might be a business owner, a high school teacher, a single mother, or a young person still searching for purpose in life. They don't wear white robes. They don't speak in ancient, lofty words. They laugh. They cry. They fall. But they always know how to return to themselves. They face crises without losing their mind. Modern life is full of chaos. Job loss, heartbreak, bankruptcy, family conflicts, illness. But a modern Stoic doesn't scream, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they pause and ask, What's in my control right now? How can I respond in a way that honors my dignity? I once watched a friend get laid off after years of loyal work. He didn't complain. He sat down, rewrote his life goals, learned a new skill, and 6 months later, started his own company. He never studied philosophy, but he lived like a true Stoic. They take full responsibility for their life. They don't blame. They don't make excuses. They don't let the past shackle the future. They understand. I don't control how others treat me, but I always control how I treat myself. Modern Stoics don't wait for someone to save them. They stand up, step by step, quietly, but with unshakable resolve. And here's the irony. The more you take responsibility, the more people trust you. The less you depend on others, the more you become someone others depend on. They are immune to drama, noise, and hollow trends. While the world rages over the latest celebrity scandal, the modern Stoic chooses to turn off notifications, read a book, call a friend, take a walk, or write a few lines of reflection. Because they know your mind is not a garbage dump. Don't let others pour trash into it. There will always be storms in the media, but a Stoic doesn't fight the storm. They build shelter from within. They are who you could become if you choose awareness over autopilot. Every single day, you face a choice. To live on autopilot, react to everything, and be pulled by meaningless noise. Or to live consciously, choose your response, and stay grounded in your values even when no one's watching. You can choose. You always have the power to choose. The Stoic isn't a special breed of human. They are ordinary people who decided to live in extraordinary awareness. And if you've made it this far, if something deep inside you is starting to stir quietly, then maybe, just maybe, the Stoic within you is beginning to wake up. Part 9. Conclusion: Stoicism is a lifelong journey. As we reach the end of this journey, there's one truth I want to emphasize. Stoicism is not a magic key that unlocks every door. It's not a cure-all for life's problems. It won't erase all your pain. It won't promise a life of endless joy and ease. But here's the beauty of Stoicism: it gives you tools, mental weapons, to face whatever comes your way with a steady mind and a resilient heart. I often tell my students, Stoicism is not about removing the storm. It's about teaching you how to sail through it. You can't stop the storm from coming, but you can learn how to hold the wheel steady so your ship doesn't sink. True freedom isn't getting everything you want. We live in a world that often tells us freedom means doing whatever we want, whenever we want, having everything go our way. But the Stoics saw it differently. They said, freedom doesn't come from getting everything you want. It comes from knowing what you really need and not letting what's beyond your control rule your soul. Think about it. Most of the time, we're exhausted not by the big stuff, but by chasing what's out of reach. We want people to be fair. We want every plan to go smoothly. We want life to stop surprising us, but life doesn't play by those rules. And resisting that truth, that's what drains us. Stoicism invites us to let go of what's impossible and to focus instead on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, our attitude. And when you do that, you discover a different kind of freedom. Inner freedom. Not numb, but deeper. Some people think Stoicism turns you into a cold, emotionless machine, but the truth is the exact opposite. Stoicism doesn't tell us to reject our feelings. It teaches us to notice them, to understand them, and to guide them. Anger, fear, sadness, they're part of being human. The Stoics didn't run away, and they didn't pretend emotions don't exist. They were more like sailors at sea. You can't command the wind to stop blowing, but you can adjust your sails to keep moving forward. That's what Stoicism does. It doesn't make you less human, it makes you more. It gives you a heart that's wide deeper, steadier, and stronger. Start with small things. Now you might be wondering, where do I even begin? And the answer isn't in lofty theory, it's in daily life. Start with a page in your journal at night. Ask yourself, did I live with integrity today? Start with a pause before you snap in anger. Start with a word of gratitude for someone you've taken for granted. These little things, they are the first bricks in building a Stoic life. And you don't need to wait for tomorrow. You can begin right now. A lifelong journey. The point I want to leave you with is this: Stoicism is not a destination. It's a lifelong journey. A journey where every day you get the chance to master yourself a little more, to understand life a little deeper, to live a little more meaningfully. Yes, you'll stumble, you'll lose patience, you'll get carried away by emotions, but that's okay. If tonight you can admit it honestly, and tomorrow you begin again, that's already living the Stoic way. Remember Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they weren't perfect either. They struggled, they fell, but what made them timeless was that they kept coming back to Stoic principles again and again, and so can you. Living Stoic way, an invitation. Wherever you are right now under pressure at work, caught in a difficult relationship, or worried about the future, Stoicism offers the same reminder. You cannot choose the wind, but you can always choose how to set your sails. And that is exactly what Living Stoic Way invites you to step into. This isn't just ancient philosophy, right? And this is a way of living, a journey where you are the traveler, the practitioner, and the author of your own story. So, welcome to the Living Stoic Way. Begin today with virtue, with awareness, with courage, because your journey doesn't start tomorrow. It starts right here, right now. Part 10, a message from Living Stoic Way. My friend, this journey we've taken together through the ideas and stories of Stoicism has nearly come full circle. But I don't want this to be where it ends. I don't want you to just watch a video, nod at a few wise lines, and then let tomorrow sweep it all away. Stoicism is not meant to be read, remembered, and then forgotten. It is meant to be lived, and to live it, you have to start today. Here's something simple I want you to try. Take just 5 minutes each morning for yourself. Just 5 minutes. Open a small notebook. Write down what's on your mind. It might be your worries, your goals, or simply a reminder of how you want to live this day. Don't underestimate those 5 minutes. They're like a quiet conversation with your own soul, helping you see where you're going and why. Next, practice a habit that's tough, but powerful. Stop reacting so quickly. Life constantly throws triggers at us. Someone says something rude, we explode. Something goes wrong, we complain immediately. But what if, just for a moment, you pause, ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, act. If not, let it pass. That pause is where your strength is built. It's the moment you stop handing over your power to others or to circumstances. It's the moment you step into true stoicism, choosing your response instead of being controlled by your reaction. And finally, live with purpose. Our modern world is full of distractions, phones buzzing, social media pulling us in, endless pressure from work. Without purpose, you'll be pulled in every direction and end up feeling empty. Stoicism reminds us live with reason, live with awareness, live with virtue. When you know what truly matters, you stop chasing illusions. To live as a true Stoic is not to live cold or closed off. It's to live strong, free, and deep. It's to love without clinging, to work hard without being enslaved by results, to face loss without being destroyed, to treat every day as if it were the final gift. Now, you might be wondering, is that easy? The answer is no, not at all, but precisely because it's difficult, it's worth it. Day by day, as you practice, you will notice the change. You'll feel calmer, stronger, freer. And if this journey has given you value, I have one small request. Share it. Maybe to you, this is just one video. But for someone out there, these words might be a spark, the spark that helps them find the inner peace they lost long ago. We never know how far a single message can reach, but if it finds the right person at the right time, it could change an entire life. Thank you for walking this path with Living Stoic Way. This is not just a channel, not just videos. It's a community, a way of life, a journey that you are now part of. So start today. Write. Pause before you react. Live with purpose. And remember, Stoicism doesn't promise you an easy life, but it gives you the strength to live a meaningful one, no matter the circumstances. Welcome to Living Stoic Way. This journey, the journey back to inner freedom, has already begun. The very moment you sat here, listened, and reflected. And I believe from this moment on, you will never look at life the same way again.